that on SKOR North and SKORNorth.com.
You think you like football? Well, Dan Campbell doesn't just like football. He f***ing loves football.
I'm not a negative person. I'm all about going to work. I want guys that are resilient, that are willing to go back to work. They love ball. They're going to clean up their mistakes, and those are the guys I'm looking for, man. I'm not a sulker. I'm not a guy who, like, you're not going to get me down. And those are the type of people I want around me. I want guys that are looking for solutions. We're going to fix our, we're going to fix our mess because we put ourselves in this mess. So that's what I'm looking for. So I think we're going to be just fine.
Yeah, football. Dan Campbell.
The Detroit Lions, by the time he's done, will have him down in the dauber.
Did he not look super fish out of water, uncomfortable with that big ass, like that, like the headphone electrical box on your belt? The headphone electrical box he had looked about 5 times bigger than everyone else's, which I think is probably on purpose.
I think
Probably.
Give me the industrial size plugs, because I'm Dan Campbell.
I think Dan Campbell would prefer to go headphoneless. I think, like, if Dan could, because he just scream. He would just scream instructions.
Do you think his headphones are playing the sounds from the booths, like the offensive coordinator, or do you think it's just Metallica's Reload album on full?
He's got like 4 albums shuffling the entire game.
He's just got Enter Sandman.
It's just going air guitar. What play is that, coach? It's nothing. It's just air guitar.
That's right. It's Ride the Lightning. It's for whom the bell tolls. So, all right, welcome in Mackie and Judd, daily Minnesota sports entertainment, which includes laughing at the Lions when your team is also 0-2. Let's start out. Every Tuesday, we dive into who gets it and who doesn't. And I would love to do the honors here because I think we're all sort of thinking the same thing after we saw these quotes come out yesterday. Uh-huh. But who gets it? Mike Zimmer gets it, okay? So he was asked again yesterday at his Monday sort of day after, survey the wreckage of another loss press conference about Greg Joseph and the missed kicks. And his quote was, "I mean, lots of kickers miss field goals. Let's give the kid a break, okay?" How do you guys feel about the new Zen-like Mike Zimmer that has no room for criticizing young kickers? Listen, I don't know why you guys have to be so hard every time a kicker misses a kick. I am sitting in my yoga pose. I am Mike Zimmer, and I am digesting that loss with full clarity.
First of all, I can't stand it because, come on. This is the one guy who's always melted down when kickers. He hates kickers. Deep down in his heart, he hates them. But here's the thing I can't figure out. Go back and watch the postgame on Sunday, too, and combine that with yesterday's quotes. It's almost like there's a level of acceptance of what will be. And so Zim is just sort of like, we could get, because, the team did not play a terrible game. So it's almost like there's this, I know this is my make or break season and I'm going to try it and get it back on track, but I don't have the cachet still to go crazy because I'm still probably going to get fired if we don't win games. So there definitely has been an alteration in his attitude, and I'm trying to figure out why, because he's a fairly calculated guy at times. And I think it's because he knows that if they don't win games, he's gone. And if they do, he's fine. But this isn't like year 5 where he would go unhinged, right? And then because his job at that time was in zero jeopardy. So there is definitely a change here. But the kicker thing, I liked it more when he got mad at kickers. It was more fun.
Yeah, but like for years we've been saying, okay, all these kickers have come in and just absolutely melted down in some form, right? Daniel Carlson, Dan Bailey, Blair Walsh before all of those guys. Just like Blair Walsh was just out of the league like 2 years later.
Yep.
Dan Bailey, I don't think got signed. Kai Forbath didn't really melt down. He missed a couple extra points, and they just elected to move on from him.
Kai Forbath got a raw deal.
Yeah, but why? But he's not. Is he not on a team?
Kai Forbath? No, he's bounced around since then, but he has not had a full-time job.
And so I think we've been sitting here for years saying, dude, I don't know how it's possible, but whatever energy you are putting out into the universe, Mike Zimmer, it is not landing well with your special teams unit, your kicker. So change the way that you interact with them, change the way that you talk about them publicly. These guys are golfers.
Yeah.
They're not football players.
You're right.
They've got fragile mindsets. And if he's making that change, it's probably too late. But because Daniel Carlson basically hasn't missed a kick in 5 years now since the Vikings, or 3 years. since they let him go. But I like this new Mike Zimmer. I don't know why you would be upset that he has finally figured out how to communicate with kickers.
Well, no, I don't think he has. I think he's just done with them now. I think he's just like, kickers miss, whatever. But he is. I think the lesson was Carlson, because he's become so good. Because he didn't, in Mike's defense, this sort of started with the change in demeanor towards kickers with Bailey, because he didn't really melt down last year. Like Bailey went through 5 games where he was terrible. That Tampa Bay game was off the charts bad. So I think I think Carlson has become so good, it's almost embarrassing.
Yeah. I mean, Carlson, I think he has the longest current active streak in the NFL. If you're wondering if Mike Zimmer has a reason to go apoplectic on kickers historically, or if it's just your eyes lying to you, Ben Gessling has the data from the Star Tribune. On field goal attempts to tie or take the lead in the final 2 minutes of regulation during Mike Zimmer's tenure, so the most clutch needed field goals, right? The Vikings are tied for the second worst percentage in the NFL, 50%. They're 5 of 10 on those kicks. They've also gone 2 for 4 in overtime. Both of those misses were by Daniel Carlson in the same game at Green Bay in 2018, and then he lost his job. So, maybe that's evidence that if you just stick with a talented guy, they clearly believed in Greg Joseph. I think they should just ride it out and pray at this point. But that's pretty unlucky. That I don't know that Mike Zimmer can take blame for those kickers missing that many. They're not thinking nervously in their head as they address the ball, oh my God, if I miss, Mike Zimmer is going to decapitate me. But that not many coaches have had to deal with that level of kicking ineptitude in the last 2 minutes of regulation over the last 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Zimmer, he gets it for seeing the light.
I miss the old Zim. All right, who doesn't get it? I'm going to give you the Vikings, and I'm going to give you a position group that's near and dear to Zimmer's heart. I'm going to give you the Vikings defense. After all that work, after all of the retooling, after all of the signings, after all of the moves that caused people to say Kirk Cousins' salary doesn't do a thing to hurt the Vikings. Look at all the great players that they signed. Through 2 games, small sample size alert, but it's still important. The Vikings are 27th in points allowed per game. They're giving up 30.5, and they are 28th in yards allowed per game. Not as important as points allowed, but still 28th. At 420 yards per game. That's not only is that not going to cut it, that's not even going to come close. I mean, this team needs to be top 5, top 10. I think top 5, but it needs to be in the upper echelon of this league. Yeah. And so far, I'm sorry, I know it's 8 quarters or 8+ because the Bengals game went into overtime, but that's not sufficient. Like, this team is built largely around our defense is really good now. And what I just read you statistically doesn't even come close to being good. I don't care what the sample size is.
And I think it was always realistic to expect that they're probably, with all these new pieces, they're probably going to need until like October to peak. But
right,
you can't.
Oh, right, yeah.
You can't give up 30 points a game in the first month and start 0-4 and then be like, I know it's a rough start, but just wait till like the 3rd week in October. Right. Then we're really going to start clicking. Okay, you're 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's but that's the risk. It's like you can't just wave a magic wand and all right, let's just bring in a bunch of players. Like defense, you have to get so lucky to build a great defense. You have to be great at scheming and you have to be great at drafting and all those things. So I'm not saying it's all luck. Like there's skill in putting together a roster, but you have to have a bunch of guys gelling at the same time, healthy at the same time, probably in the prime of their career at the same time, which some of these guys are not. Patrick Peterson, right? And then you have to probably get some schedule luck so that you're not playing guys like Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson in the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
When you're trying to build this thing.
Yes.
All right, we're putting this new defense together, and now we have to go chase Mighty Mouse around for 3 hours while he jukes left and right.
Joe Burrow, too. Like, you're 27th in points per game.
Yeah.
That doesn't even come close. I mean, that's embarrassing. So, yeah, the Vikings defense through 2 games does not get it.
Okay. All right, who gets it, who doesn't? Declan.
I have another Vikings one as well on who doesn't get it. Who doesn't get it? Dede Westbrook.
Oh, no.
Dede Westbrook. And I'm trying to figure out, too, if this is on fans and media or if this is on the Vikings evaluations. But this is now the 3rd wide receiver the Vikings have brought in via free agency or trade that we all kind of thought, oh, great. A guy who is a little bit established and a nice player and then comes in and really is making, honestly, a negative or next to no impact. Last year, it was Tajay Sharp. A few years back, it was Aldrick Robinson. A year before that, Kendall Wright, who didn't even make the bleeping training camp roster. We get, honestly overhyped up over these third wide receivers thinking, oh, it's a great depth piece. He was a decent player. And then they come in and they do absolutely nothing. Yeah. Dede Westbrook almost pulls a safety on his own team for running backwards. I'm trying to figure out where to parse it. Is it our fault? Is it Rick Spielman's evaluation in bringing in these third wide receivers? Because I also think the way that they'd be able to develop their own guys. Jarius Wright was an awesome money third wide receiver, a reliable guy that you absolutely loved. They have now the same thing in KJ Osborne, looking like he's going to be a nice established third wide receiver. But these free agents that they have brought in over the last 4 years have done little to nothing, and we overvaluate them. And just through 2 games, Dede Westbrook has only played 17 snaps. So I'm trying to figure out who actually doesn't get it. But these third wide receivers that the Vikings continue to bring in, they never seem to get it.
I think Dede Westbrook doesn't get it because he almost walked his ass back in the
also
end zone for his safety, which is, yeah, it is kind of funny. Tajay Sharp, yeah, look, he put up some yards with the Jaguars or whatever. Was it the Jaguars or the Titans?
Titans.
Some AFC team.
Yeah.
It's on Thursday Night Football.
But the point's the same. Exactly.
Yeah.
But dude, on punt returns, which by the way is why you are here. You are here for punt returns. Know how to return a punt. I like the fact that you can make a play and catch the ball and have a little bit of explosiveness in the punt return game. But what are you doing on that play?
I want to see how are the Vikings doing. They had 70 punt return yards last year.
Yeah.
Oh God.
On the season.
I feel like to date, as a whole, some of the special teams looks much improved. Unfortunately, it's not that.
Dede has 33 punt return yards.
Yeah, he can return a punt.
Oh, he's great. What are you complaining about?
And probably -7 or -5, whatever it was, on the almost disastrous play that led to a safety.
Special teams in coverage to me looks pretty good. It does look. There is no question that the year of Marwin Magoofs are at least gone now.
Well, they have given up twice as many, actually more than twice as many punt return yards as they have gained. But
it's slow. You know what? It's slow progress, dude. It's slow progress. It's a step in the right direction from last year.
All right, who gets it, who doesn't? I've got 2 here for you. Number 1, PXG Minneapolis gets it. Yeah, fall golf season is official. When you wake up in the morning and it's 48 degrees outside, 50 degrees outside, you know that fall golf season is on the horizon or here. And PXG Minneapolis is a golfer's paradise. Take advantage here as we wind down the golf season the next couple of months. And if you haven't already checked out some of the new clubs, they have the Gen 4 clubs, the 0-11s, some of the apparel. Check it out. There's a reason why people are raving about PXG Minneapolis in Southdale Center. You can find out more at pxg.com/Minneapolis. Declan shot a little 99 with some mulligans.
99.
Declan
99 on Sunday.
Declan needs the putter from PXG, dude. Go get it. Pull the trigger and tell us about it.
Called the Claw. I'm using a new grip. I'm trying to figure out new grips. My mom buddy said if you can't get a new putter, let's at least try this new grip. So I just need to get to PXG and get a new one.
Dude, if you line a putt up and miss it 5 feet to the left, that's not a grip problem.
Well, this new grip was working, so I'm
just
kind of bullish on it.
Head to PXG in Southdale and get
that gunboat putter.
Yes.
Yeah, get that gunboat putter, baby.
Spend some of that cash you got coming out from everywhere these days.
Yeah. Okay. You know who doesn't get it, and there might be some more Vikings ones. You guys don't feel like you can't do more Vikings here, but the American public doesn't get it. The ratings last week for the Peyton Eli simulcast on Monday Night Football were garbage on ESPN2. And I don't know what they are yet. They haven't come out as we record this today. But again, those guys were excellent last night. If you haven't checked out Peyton and Eli sitting in their basements, basically, welcoming in Brett Favre as a guest and Pat McAfee, just breaking down a full 3-hour football game. It is wildly entertaining. And I can't believe... So, the networks in total did 15 million viewers on Monday Night Football last week, And the Peyton Eli thing made up for like 800,000. So I don't know if they just aren't telling the audience where it is, or if people just.
I think a lot of people did not know last week, at least.
I guess all due respect to Louis Riddick and is it Brian Greasy and Steve Levy,
Yeah,
but
you don't have to apologize to them, dude.
Dude, the Mannings are sitting over there on
it's
ESPN
great.
too. So people, you gotta check this out. Brett Favre looked a little rough. Not gonna lie, he looks like
know
he's
what?
about 52 going on 70 right now.
McAfee was outstanding, but they do not need a ton of guests. Let the two brothers talk football. It's great. I learned so much. Like, just let them focus on the game and tell me. I mean, yes, it's inside football, and yes, it's geeky, but it's two guys with Super Bowl cred, and one's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
I learned so much last night. It was fantastic.
it's a blast, and I think sometimes Peyton gets really excited and just like wants to jump in and somebody will be telling a story and he'll just be like cutting them off and jumping in. But at one point, Peyton did a self-evaluation from watching the film, quote unquote, from his performance in Week 1 on TV. And he listed like 5 or 6 different things. I got to get better at this. I got to get better at this. I asked too many questions.
Yep.
I'll ask 2 questions in one. And Eli said, yeah, the only thing I had in mind is just to make fewer forehead jokes about you. But actually, I have another one here. Your forehead's so big, it's called a 5-head. I mean, come on, Declan. How can you not love the Manning brothers, man?
Well, dude, it's great.
Number one, my means. I did try to seek it out yesterday in my ways to watch games.
Yep.
I wasn't able to find ESPN2. Let's just say that I wasn't able to find ESPN.
It is a really hard
I
channel
did
to
seek
find
it out.
on ESPN
I did
too.
seek it out, but I couldn't find it. Couldn't find it. And
Go over to Judd's house. It's 3 hours every Monday.
Doogie came over. I'll just come over Monday night. I'll bring a 6
know
pack.
what?
Now that you're having
what?
company over.
I've changed the locks. I've got extra protection. I've got
I got some milk bones for Stella. It'll be a whole
my
thing.
guard dog now.
Woof.
Sick Doogie, sick Declan.
Yeah, right. All right, back to Judd here. Who gets it? Who doesn't?
All right, who gets it? Shout out to PJ Fleck for this in particular. PJ Fleck gets how to build an offensive line. The Gophers' offensive line, and look, I'm not saying that they're better than the Vikings, like if you put them in purple, but they are better than the Vikings as far as they are better than the Vikings as far as if you make the comparison for the level that they're playing at. And when it comes to, there is no messing around there. Like, I believe when Fleck got the job originally here, the offensive line was depleted and terrible. And he didn't like dilly-dally around. It's like, well, yeah, we'll sort of take care of that. He recruited linemen who are big and can block. And that line is fantastic. I think they've got 7 guys that can play, 6 guys who probably all could be starters. And that's the type of thing. When a line is good, you take it for granted because it's like, oh, yeah, of course they're blocking. Of course they're protecting. But when they're bad, you see why you shouldn't take it for granted. PJ Fleck understands how to build an offensive line, and he knows that when you build an offensive line, your star running back can get hurt. And guess what happens, guys? You bring in the next guy, and he turns into your star back because the blocking's so good.
It's kind of amazing how many people freaked out and overreact. Like, Mo Ibrahim is a really good player, but people thought, oh my God, like it's the end of the season. They're going to lose every game now. It's like, go back and go for history. You know, even Lawrence Maroney, Marion Barber, those guys were NFL backs, but they were playing behind a couple NFL caliber offensive linemen, a road grading, run blocking scheme. And, you know, you can find guys to run behind for 4.5, 5 yards a carry or more when you have the offensive line right. And that's what they're doing. And we talked about their schedule on yesterday's show. God, they should start 8-1. They might slip up here and there. You know, they're not Alabama, so they might just lose a random game to Purdue on the road. But they, to me, should start 8-1 and be ready to face Iowa in maybe what will be like a game to determine who wins the division, the Big Ten West. That would be super fun if that was the case. Unless Iowa, you know, loses 2 games before then and makes the game a buzzkill.
The 5th-ranked Hawkeyes are going to tank.
I think 5th is a little aggressive. People get all excited about Iowa.
I don't know yet.
Their defense.
It's early. I can't tell yet.
Iowa always finds a way to drop a game when they're not supposed to. I mean, listen.
Well,
stones in a glass house here, all right?
Just,
I get it.
A Gopher fan just saying Iowa finds a way to drop games they should win.
Self-aware.
Oh, boy.
Yep. All right, Declan, who gets it, who doesn't?
Oh, going back to an old well here for who gets it. And it's the Denver Broncos for believing in Teddy Bridgewater.
Wow.
So through 2 games, now Teddy and the Broncos have beat up on some pretty bad teams, the Giants and Jaguars, but I'm also under the belief that if those teams suck, you should beat up on those teams that absolutely stink, and the Broncos have done that. Through 2 games for Teddy, he's obviously 2-0, averaging 296 yards per game, 4 touchdowns, 77% completion percentage, and you might be thinking, oh, it's all dink and dunk Teddy. No other quarterback has more throws over 20 yards this season than Teddy Bridgewater. Now, the Broncos are in probably the best division in football, it looks like. I mean, the Chiefs, the Raiders look good. The Broncos look good. Chargers should be good. This is going to be an absolute grind watching that division slug it out for those 3 playoff spots. But Teddy Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos are 2-0. And when you also hear someone like Von Miller talk to Teddy like this, I don't know how you don't believe in Teddy.
I ain't felt that in a while since 18 was here, man. Keep with those little pep talks go a long way, man. You know what I'm saying? We need that shit. We ain't had in a minute. I love you, bro. Love you too.
Dude.
Comparing him to 18, that's the best I have felt since Peyton Manning was here. Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos get it, man. They get it.
Arms are about the same, wouldn't you say? Ball flutters through the air and eventually makes its way. No, it's a great story. I love Teddy.
I think it's awesome, and I think because there are a lot of that clip that you just played of Von Miller, complimenting Teddy's leadership and just the way that people interact with Teddy. Because I think a lot of Vikings fans wonder, I don't understand, what's the guy threw 14 touchdown passes? What's the appeal? There's so many things that go into winning that you don't see on a box score. And this is what we've been talking about Kirk Cousins for a long time. It's how are you connecting with teammates? How are you coaching your fellow teammates? How are you building those relationships, right? And, there's a lot of guys that are more talented, can throw the ball a lot further. Like, would I rather have Josh Allen's arm? Well, I'll just take Josh Allen's everything over Teddy. But, but Teddy brings things that coaches and teammates clearly love for almost a decade now. And it'll be really fun to watch the rest of the season play out because Denver has a really good roster. They've got a good defense, and we'll see how they do against some of the better teams in that division. But it would be really fun to see Teddy on top of like an 11-win team again and proving people wrong. I'm with Dex on this. I'm a big Teddy guy. Judd, any final ones from you? Who gets it, who doesn't?
Yes. Who does not get it? The National Football League and this new taunting rule that they are enforcing, which I absolutely hate. Now, first of all, let me get this right. If I catch a pass and I deign to spin the football with my opponent nearby, I get a penalty flag.
Why? Who's asking for that?
It's so dumb.
But I'll tell you right now who I think is a bunch of white guys, a bunch of old white guys. Because here's the thing. If I intercept a ball, I can run with my teammates to the end zone and do a portrait. So no, I'm convinced this is a bunch of National Football League older white guys who decided all of this celebration. Like we're allowing touchdowns to be celebrated, but now we're going to draw the line. And seriously, I think that this is their way of drawing the line. And if anybody, if a guy makes a big tackle and he stands up and says, something to his opponent, that now should be a flag. This is the fact that this league can't stand to allow players to have fun. And I think that they thought the celebration thing's out of control now. So what can we get control of, right?
Like, what are they, and I know this is a rhetorical question for this room, but like, what are they gaining by penalizing taunting and celebrating?
They're controlling.
And what are they losing by having those things exist in the game? It doesn't. Has any who in the? There's so many things to be outraged about, and there's been people outraged about the anthem and different things. But like, show me the group of people that's outraged over the embarrassing amount of taunting in the NFL.
I'm telling
you,
the old white people are. I'm telling you that.
Baseball fans are mad about it. Basically.
Yes, but this is a group. This is a group of people that makes a ton of cash and profits off its players, and constantly, in some way, shape, or form, screws them. And in this case, I think it's also a group of people who can't stand not having their thumb on players, like in some way. And I'm telling you, I guarantee you it bugged them. Well, we've allowed them all of this freedom after big plays to celebrate. We got to scale it back. And, and how are we going to scale it back? That's what this strikes me as. I mean, you literally have guys spinning the football after a catch. I saw this on Sunday.
What's wrong?
It drew a flag. It drew a flag. And what's the rule? But like, what is the rule? Like, I could totally see if you make a play on a guy and get up and say a word that is completely objectionable in society. Okay? I get that. That's objectionable. You shouldn't use that word, but what's the enforcement?
It's 15 yards still, right?
I think so, yeah.
I want you to think about how stupid that is. So I can literally hold and tackle a player to the ground, and it's a 10-yard penalty. Or on defense, it's only a 5-yard penalty with an automatic first down. But if I get up out of excitement after a big play and like spike the ball or just whatever, like show too much emotion and chirp at my opponent, that's a 15-yard penalty that could alter a game. Yeah. Get out of here with that. If you're going to make it a penalty, make it a 5-yard penalty.
Why is it
or make it a warning and then a 5-yard. I agree. It shouldn't be a penalty.
Why not? I completely get if an official hears certain trigger words, and I'm not talking the F-bomb, okay? Yep. I completely get saying, okay, we got a problem there. We really can't have this. But as far as actions go, come on. And what drives me crazy is I don't even know if they know what they're supposed to throw the flag for.
Yeah. Also, all right, there's 3.5 minutes left in the game, and the Chiefs are driving down the field. They need a touchdown to win the game, and Tyreek Hill catches a big pass, to put them across the 50-yard line and spins the football and signals first down, and his opponent is standing right there.
Yeah.
Do you want there to be a 15-yard penalty in that situation that alters the game? Get out of here.
And what Antoine Winfield Jr. did in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, which I think it was the last straw for this rule.
It was a brilliant callback to getting taunted
exactly.
before.
No, but that's exactly it. It was a great callback. And who did it hurt? Like what Chiefs player said, oh, I can't. Oh, man. I am going to need to go on Twitter and talk about my mental health now.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm sure Tyreek Hill was really broken up about. It wasn't the loss that broke him up. It was the way that he was taunted.
And you're right. Brilliant callback. Good for Twan.
Yeah.
The NFL, the no fun league.
I guess.
No fun league.
Stupid. Feels right.
So, all right, that's Who Gets It, Who Doesn't here on Mackie and Judd every Tuesday.